Jump podcast. As you can see, I'm flying solo today. Uh, Kevin will be back with us next week, or maybe he'll jump on a little bit today. But yeah, so we are live on YouTube today. So if you're in there, you can throw some questions in the chat. We can interact for a little bit today. So it'll be a little shorter episode today, but a couple things we're going to touch on. We're going to talk on some entertainment news. We're going to look at some sports, and then we'll hit some politics as well. So one of the big things that's been going on in the world lately, and I think if you're a millennial or a zennial like I am, born in '81, you feel like everyone's very entitled. A lot of entitlement issues going on out there. So a couple things that are going on in the world that kind of showcase this entitlement or this false narrative or misunderstanding of your role in society or what you can or can't do. Because I look at the big entertainment news with Stephen Colbert being fired this week or the Late Show being discontinued. And one thing, it's kind of sad in a sense that the Late Show was really a daily watch for me back when David Letterman was on. I remember being a kid, growing up, high school, college years. There was really that kind of split between, are you a Leno person or are you a Letterman person? And you could kind of tell if you talk to somebody long enough, like, oh, you're a Leno guy. Oh, you're a Letterman, kind of just by the type of humor they appreciated. And so I was always a big Letterman guy. I love Letterman. The top 10 list was always good. His monologues were always good. So when he left, I was sad to see him go. And then I, quite frankly, stopped watching late night TV because it came on too late. And as you get older, you get tired faster. But when Colbert came on, I mean, obviously he had his background on a Daily Show, which was kind of political, and he played the ultra conservative character on that show. And then when he came on the Late Show as the permanent host, it was very politicized. And obviously, after the post-Trump world we live in, everything is very politicized, and everyone has an opinion about things. And he just really leaned kind of hard into that political partisan type of show where he was pushing his agenda on people. I remember during COVID, he did the big vaccination skit and kind of pushing all the narratives that was kind of coming out of from the left wing media. So it's not a surprise that the ratings went down because obviously you're alienating half your audience, politically speaking. And then kind of the big thing, like people defending him now, being upset that he has had the show taken or the show's been canceled, um, and say that Trump is kind of behind it and he's the reason because he is trying to silence his critics or whatever. I saw some clips of the View today where they were talking about how Trump is silencing his critics, and then people on the left were talking about how we're falling deeper into the totalitarian state where oppositional voices are being muted and things of that effect. But what we miss here is that the show was losing $40 million a year, and Colbert was being paid like $20 million a year, and he has a staff of 200 people on there. I get, obviously, the more people you can employ, the more people you're paying, and they have jobs, and that's good for their stability. But at the same time, these places are running a business, and when you're working for someone, you have to be aware that you're kind of a spokesperson for that business or for that company. You just can't spout out anything you want. It reminds me of also the Starbucks story when people were upset that they had to change and go into a more conforming um, uh, uniform because people are wearing crazy stuff in at work, and now they're upset. People are upset about it, saying like, "Oh, now I'm losing my individuality, my ability to express yourself." Well, guess what? When you're at work, you're not there to express yourself. You're there to serve people coffee. Or when I go to work, I can't just start spouting off stuff, political nonsense, because I have a job to do, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the school or the company you're working for. Any job that you have. When I worked at Geico, I couldn't answer the phone and say, "Hey, donate to XYZ political party." I would have gotten fired. So I don't know why people feel it's so entitled to. Well, I know why they feel that way, because social media gives everyone a platform, so everyone thinks that they should speak out, which is ironic since I'm literally doing that right now. But that's not lost on me, so that makes me a little better than those out there that are complaining. But going back to Colbert, what's crazy is like $40 million a year in losses. Like, businesses have to generate revenue to stay afloat. because companies aren't going to just keep throwing money at situations where they're losing money. And that kind of segues me into another entitled issue is the WNBA. So the WNBA is subsidized by the NBA. The WNBA has been unprofitable since its inception in 1999. I think was their first season, or 2000. I can't remember. I remember it might have been 99. I think I was in high school. Houston Comets won the first three. I remember that. Cynthia Cooper. See, look at that. I'm not a bigot. But anyway, they had their All-Star game this week. And of course, the big problem with the WNBA, it seems that they have been given this rare opportunity where they have a transcendent player in Caitlin Clark, where people are actually watching their games. People are actually going to their games. People are paying money for jerseys. People are going and the revenues are going up. So they're getting, because of this, they're getting better flights. They're getting better hotels. They're getting better amenities, better locker rooms, all those types of things that come with it, but they cannot get out of their own way. And they keep complaining about her or like throwing her under the bus and not just accepting like, hey, this is good for all of us. We need to just suck it up. Let's complain about her and hate her behind her back. But while we're forward facing, let's, understand the gift that we've been given and try to move forward and, work it for as best we can, because at the end of the day, if she gets hurt, I mean, you can look at the All-Star game ratings. Last year, I think it said like 3.5 million people watched. Without her this week, it's down to 2 million. The ticket prices dropped 50% when she wasn't playing. So it's just an understanding of the situation and not being so entitled to think that people are there for you. No, they're not. You've had 20 years, 25 years to prove yourself, and you haven't been able to do that. Now you have someone that comes in and is pushing you to the forefront. You need to get behind her and help pushing her instead of tripping her up and literally tackling her, poking her in the eye, doing all these types of things. It's just crazy to me, the entitlement of some of these people out there that don't understand the situation and feel like, hey, we can just speak our minds and do whatever we want. But the reality is you gotta know what you're dealing with here and slow your roll a little bit and not go crazy about all those types of things. But yeah, some of the other big things that are going on in the world this week we got, which could be, again, everything is the story of the day, or the bigger than Watergate is this new Obama Russia hoax spying on the Trump campaign. If you've seen this come out, it's pretty big story, and we'll see where this kind of plays itself out. But the backstory is that Tulsi Gabbard had released some emails that alleged that Susan Rice and a lot of from the Obama campaign or Obama administration concocted this plan to find a way to spy on the Trump campaign. So if you remember, post 2016, we had the Russian collusion that was going on, or the speculation of Russian collusion. We had the DNC email server being hacked, and now they're saying that may not have actually happened, and that the Russians were not hacking the election, and it was all kind of just made up as a way to set the precedent in terms of being able to watch and see what the Trump campaign was doing. Because that dominated news headlines for years. We had the Mueller report, if you remember back to that, in 2016, 2017, 2018. Everything was a Russian hoax. Trump's a Russian asset. You had the P dossier. So you had all these things that may or may not have been real or been fabricated. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out, because it makes me think, if they arrest Obama, what could happen? It seems unlikely that they're going to do that, because one, politically, obviously, if you're a Trump campaign, you arrest Barack Obama, you've lost any hope of maintaining any of the inroads that you've made it with the black vote. No chance that you're going to come close to securing that number again, because over the last few years, the black vote has gone more and more towards the Republicans, and Trump's done a good job with that. And if they arrest Obama, I can only imagine that that's going to tank those numbers. So politically speaking, I think there's no chance this is going to happen. much like the Epstein file. Like we see this all the time. Like, oh, we're going to release the Epstein files. Just kidding. Oh, we're going to release the JFK files. Just kidding. We're going to release the alien, the Roswell, the Area 51 stuff. Like all these things that were promised are still not coming out. So it'll be interesting. I did see the MLK files were released this week, so we'll see if any interesting information comes out of that. But going back to the Epstein thing, see, this is where with the Epstein file, it's just crazy to me. One, do I think there's a client list? Probably not, because it just seems crazy that they would keep a list with the high profile people they're dealing with. Now the flight logs, that's a different story. Obviously those exist. We've seen those. We've seen who's on there. But in terms of a list of who's doing what to whom, I just can't imagine that list exists. So, I mean, I can buy into the idea that there is no list. Now, did he commit suicide? Did Epstein kill himself? That is another one that I have a hard time kind of believing. I know they say that the tape skips that minute every night, and that's not an anomaly, but it just seems very strange. So I'm hoping. I did see also that Maxwell, his madam, I guess you would call her, she's agreed to testify in front of Congress. So if that happens, that should be interesting. Hopefully we can get some information. But again, what's going to come of this? Because everyone wants to know, it was Trump on the tape or is Trump on the client list? Obviously, they don't have anything on him, because if they did, that would have come out 8 years ago, 4 years ago, 2 years ago, 6 months ago. Like at any point, anyone had access to this information. There's nothing that they're going to hold back if they can get Trump and bring him down. So there's no chance he's on there. Or if he's on there, it's been washed out, or they have such a backroom deal on whoever is involved in it that it's not going to see the light. I just can't imagine a scenario where he is, where he's on that and we haven't found out about it, because it's just too crazy of a story, and things being, all the things that come out about him, and for that to be hidden is just unlikely to me. But I do hope we see it, because obviously, like, this is a problem in society that, the rich are able to get out of their situations. Obviously, like OJ. I just actually just so one thing I will say, the OJ Simpson trial is one of those things that just interests me to knowing, because it was like the first big kind of cultural moment of my life, being 14, 15 years old when that happened, 13, I guess, when that happened, maybe 12, 94. Yeah. When that happened. So it's kind of something that captivated the nation, and everyone was involved. Everyone had an opinion. So I'll still watch that kind of the shows that come out. There's a new one on Netflix, relatively new. I started watching today. But that was kind of the first big one where they showed, if you have money, you can buy your way out of a conviction. Because obviously, I mean, there's pretty good evidence to show that OJ probably did this, and people are crazy if they don't think he did. But anyway, he was able to buy himself out of that. Obviously, Epstein, super rich. We know Bill Gates was on the client list or on the flight logs, like all these people with massive amounts of money. And when you have the money, you can silence people. You can buy your way out of these situations. You buy congressmen through different PACs and financial assistance on their campaigns and whatnot. So like all these people are bought and paid for, unfortunately. So anyone that can do anything with this, and with the Trump or with the Epstein files, I mean, if his base hadn't raised such a problem with it over the last few weeks, they would have just let it die. They wanted to kill it. Bondi came out and said, there's nothing there. Trump said, reported repeatedly, this was just a hoax created by the Democrats, blah, blah, blah. And the base is like, hey, you promised us the list back in during the campaign season, and now we want to see it. We have access to it. Where is it at? So I think they're scrambling a little bit here and trying to kind of reroute the discussion with this Obama spying scandal, because I wonder if this is kind of one of those, throw that out there and see what we can redirect the attention of the country to, something a little more partisan versus this Epstein situation. So it's crazy. I hope it comes out and we can see what's going on. Other than that, who knows with the power brokers and what's going on with the DC elites and all that kind of stuff that's going out there. All right, let's see here what else we got on tap for today. Oh, the other one with Trump. This is a big one too, and I chuckle this because my wife is a Commanders slash Redskins fan, and he came out and said that he is trying to put some political weight behind the Redskins or the Commanders going back to the Redskins name in order to help facilitate the building of the new stadium in DC. So we talked about this a couple weeks ago about taxpayer funded stadiums and um, politicians being involved in getting the assets to get these stadiums built. And the Redskins now play in Maryland. So obviously they want to move them into DC at the old RFK site. And I don't know what power Trump has over DC because obviously it's an autonomous or semi-autonomous area. But it'll be interesting because he's trying to put some political pressure to bring back the name Redskins instead of the Commanders. He's also mentioned the Cleveland Indians instead of the Guardians because they changed their name too when we went through that whole post 2020 period where everybody was losing their minds about sports teams. All the high school teams were changing their names and a lot of logos. I think some Canadian football teams changed their names, and then obviously the Redskins were the big ones that got their names changed, and the Guardians were the other. So, all right. So some fun personal stuff going on. Got my movie room set up, so that was very excited. I don't know if many of you are into Facebook Market. I know we talked about this last week too, but it's turned out to be really a gem for me because I've been selling stuff on there. I've been buying stuff on there. I bought surround sound on there today. By the way, my old surround sound system is available on there if you need a Klipsch 5.1 with a subwoofer. Check out my Facebook feed or check out my Facebook Market. It's on there, very competitive pricing. But I got a brand new Samsung soundbar. Sounds amazing. Got that off of Facebook, like 50% off retail. I don't know why the guy was selling 50% off retail. He said he had a contract with Samsung. I don't know if it's some shady backroom deal, but when I got to his house, he opened the box, took the stuff out of the box, gave it to me. I gave him the money and I left. So I'm not going to ask any questions. All I know is when I turned it on, it's banging, it's thumping. I registered correctly through Samsung's website. So I know it was legit. So I'm not asking any questions. That's the other problem. The one problem I will say when you go on Facebook Market is you got to really check out the profiles of people and find out where in the heck you're going to go to pick this stuff up. We've gone to some houses that I was a little nervous about getting out of the car and going to the door because you don't know what's going to happen in some of these situations. Because, everyone remembers the Craigslist killer, right? I don't remember when this was. But this guy would put ads up on Craigslist. People would come in to get stuff. And then one of them got killed. I don't know the story, but I know there was a Craigslist killer and people would start freaking out. Because I remember, this is actually a pretty funny story. So I had a Corvette, a 1978 Corvette, two-tone, 25th anniversary edition. Beautiful car. Loved it. When we decided we were going to start trying to move down to Florida, wanted to get rid of it because it was going to be crazy expensive to get it down here in a time we didn't know we were going to be living. So I didn't have any place to store it. So I decided to sell it. So in the meantime, while I was having it stored at my friend's house or where we were living, the paint got screwed up. So I was just desperate to get rid of it wherever it was at. So this guy comes one day, says, "Hey, I'll give you this amount of money." And I said, "Look," to myself, nobody else is offering me anything. The paint's screwed up. I got to get rid of it. Let's do it. He's like, "All right, well, I don't have the cash with me. Will you come to my house?" So I'm like, all right. It's a kid. I say kid. He was probably like 20 years old. His dad, they look normal enough. I'm like, all right, let's do it. I'll get in the car. I'll drive it over. You drive it over. I'll take my car. You give me the cash. I'm out. All right. So I pull in. This is in Fredericksburg, Virginia. So Fredericksburg is a very small little town, and then you have the outskirts, and it's very rural. So we get out into the wood, and we're in like Civil War country. So a lot of guns. This is like the South in Virginia. So we're going in, follow them, go into the woods to see this house. It's a nice house. So I'm like, all right, well, this is pretty good. Open the door. First thing I see, huge swastika flag. So I'm like, okay, this is this is getting weird real fast. Literally, first thing you see when you walk in the door, huge flag. And so I think they could see that I was a little taken back because I'm like, what the hell am I looking at here? And he's like, no, I'm a collector. I'm like, oh, all right, I'm a history guy. That's interesting. So he opens the door to his office, and this room is literally full of Nazi memorabilia, Lugers, hats, patches, Hitler Youth buttons, like maps, uniforms, literally anything from the war, from the Nazi era. This guy had it laid out, entire office area. It was super impressive. Like, I didn't get into the whole like ideology with him or ask him why he was into this stuff. I was just appreciating the artifacts, and it was pretty cool. And I got my money and I left. But I'm not gonna lie, there was a moment where I was like, man, this could go weird real fast if I had a different last name. So you never know what you're going to find in these Facebook Market or Craigslist situations. And the weird thing, I was a seller. I shouldn't have been one getting freaked out going to the buyer's house. In retrospect, he should have been scared to come see me. Anyway, all right. So last little bit here, we're going to talk about. This is a big week. Big week. NFL training camp starts. We already got some holdouts happening. Oh, that was the other part of my entitlement issue I was going to talk about. These NFL guys. This is what irks me so much. There's a couple big name guys in the NFL right now. Signed contracts, under contract, holding out of training camp because they want a raise. Like, I get it. You feel like you have outplayed your contract. You think you should get paid more. I get it. I understand it. The other guy on the other team's getting paid 40 million, you're paying 20 million. That pisses you off. I get it. You're putting out the same numbers. But at the same time, like, you signed the contract. You agreed to this 2 years ago. 2 years ago, you said, yes, I'm excited to sign this contract. I'm going to pay it. I'm going to get it. I'm going to make money. Boom. And now you have a good year. All of a sudden, you need a holdout. Come on. Terry McLaurin last year had him on fantasy football. Had a great year, except the game I needed him in the playoffs. Screwed me over. So that guy doesn't need anything. He doesn't need it. Play out your contract. Trey Hendrickson. This one hurts because I'm a Bengals fan. Dude, you signed a contract 2 years. This is the second year of the deal. Second year. I get it. You led the league in sacks last year. We were also terrible on defense. How do you say that you should get more money when you're on the worst defense in the league? Like, hey, I'm the best of the worst. Yeah, I get it. But how much worse are we going to be if you're not there? We're already giving up 30 points a game. But anyway, play out your contract, man. Makes me so annoyed because you know what? Granted, nobody cares what I do, but I just can't show up on Monday and be like, hey, I need double the pay because I had good test scores this year. I need a raise. No, that's not how it works. Anything else, any other situation, people are like, you signed a contract, pay it out, play it out. That's how it works. I don't know. Frustrates me. These people make so much money. But you know what? Is it going to stop me from watching? Absolutely not. You know why? Because I'm going to have my sticker on my cup all year long. I bought 3 bands from a watch. Guess what? They're all orange and black and some in white and some Bengal color. I got the huge TV, surround sound, ready for football season. So I can complain all day long, but guess what I'm going to be doing every Sunday at 1 o'clock? Sitting there watching Burrow get sacked and the Bengals defense giving up 35 points a game, and then being frustrated at the end of the year when they lose by a point to the goddamn Chiefs. All right. So anyway, that's what I got for today. Obviously, kind of running solo tonight on our first live stream on YouTube. We'll start bringing these to you live, and we can have some interaction. We'll publicize a little better in the future. But like and subscribe if you haven't already. Remember, check out the website, White Dads Can't Jump. You can find some cool shirts, some merch. Got the sticker. You can check that out. You can join the the mailing list. I don't know if there's mailing lists, but anyway, check that out. So next week we'll be back in full force. So until then, have a good week, and we will see you next time.